Imagine yourself at the end of your life, looking back. What would you wish you had done differently? What would you give anything to go back and change? Now step back into the present and realize that today is your chance. One day we will take our last breath. Imagine looking back on your life from your final days. What would you be proud of? What moments would feel the most meaningful? What would you wish you had done more of? There is a truth that follows each of us, quiet but certain. The world will go on without us, just as it did before we arrived. No matter who we are, where we live, or how we spend our days, this truth remains the same. Most people try to avoid thinking about this. The idea of death feels too heavy, too distant, too final. We fill our lives with distractions, with plans, with the hope that if we keep moving fast enough, maybe we will never have to face it. But deep down, we know it is always there, waiting in the background. And perhaps avoiding it is the real mistake. For centuries, wise thinkers have taught the practice of Memento Mori, a Latin phrase which means, remember you must die. At first, it may sound somber, but it is not about fear or sadness. It's about clarity. It is about waking up. When we remember that time is limited, we stop wasting it. We stop postponing our dreams. We stop holding back our love. Life is no longer something we take for granted, but something we cherish deeply. This is not a conversation about darkness, but about light. Not about endings, but about how we choose to live. This is an invitation to step into something deeper, something more real. If we listen closely, death is not shouting at us in anger. It is whispering gently, reminding us to be present, to love fully, to embrace each moment before it slips away. So let us go on this journey together. Let us look at life not with fear, but with open eyes and open hearts. Let us ask the questions we often avoid and see what answers they bring. If we have only this one life, then how will we choose to live it? Death is the one certainty in life, yet it remains the greatest mystery. It lingers in the background of our minds, shaping our choices in ways we do not always recognize. Some try to outrun it, keeping busy with distractions, while others shrink from it in quiet dread. The fear of death is not just about the end of existence. It is about the unknown, the loss of control, the separation from everything familiar. It is about leaving behind people we love, about time slipping away too quickly, about unfinished stories. From the moment we are old enough to understand that life is temporary, a quiet awareness settles in. This awareness often comes in waves, sometimes as a fleeting thought, sometimes as a deep, overwhelming realization. It may arrive in childhood, hearing of a grandparent's passing, or later in life, standing at the edge of a grave, feeling the weight of finality. Each person experiences this fear in their own way, but at its core, it is rooted in a simple truth. We do not know what happens after death, and uncertainty unsettles us. Different cultures have sought to answer this question, each offering their own perspective on mortality. In many Eastern traditions, death is seen not as an end, but as a transition. Buddhism teaches that life and death are part of an ongoing cycle, like the changing of seasons, each moment giving way to another. Hindu philosophy speaks of reincarnation, the soul moving through different forms until it reaches liberation. In contrast, many Western traditions, shaped by Christianity and Islam, describe death as a passage to another realm, heaven, paradise, a place beyond suffering. Indigenous cultures around the world often embrace death as a return to the earth, a reunion with ancestors, a continuation of life in a different form. Yet, no matter what one believes, the emotional response to death remains deeply human. Even those who trust in an afterlife or rebirth may still feel the pull of sadness when faced with the loss of a loved one. Even those who claim to have no fear of dying may pause when illness or accident brings them too close to the edge. The fear of death is woven into our nature not as a weakness, but as a reminder of how much life means to us. For those who have faced death directly, the experience often changes them in ways they never expected. Some find themselves gripping life more tightly, determined to make every moment count. Others feel a strange sense of peace, as though standing at the edge of existence has revealed something beyond fear. There are those who have survived near-fatal accidents and speak of a sudden clarity, a shift in priorities. People who have battled serious illness often describe an awakening, a deep gratitude for ordinary things, the warmth of sunlight, the sound of laughter, the simple act of breathing. And then there are those who have spent time with the dying, who have held hands in final moments and seen something that words cannot fully capture. They speak not just of sorrow, but of a quiet beauty, a kind of surrender that seems to soften the fear. The truth is, the fear of death can be transformed. It is not an enemy to be fought, nor a shadow to be ignored. When we stop running from it, we begin to see it differently. We realize that it is not here to rob us of joy, but to sharpen our awareness of life. It reminds us that love is precious, that time is fleeting, that there is no guarantee of tomorrow. And with this awareness comes a choice, to live fully, to love deeply, to let go of what does not matter. To fear death is to acknowledge that life is meaningful, but to accept death is to live without regret. It is to look at the sky with open eyes, to speak the truth while there is time, to hold those we love without hesitation. Death is not just about endings. It is about making the days we have matter. Memento Mori is a simple but profound reminder. Remember that you will die. At first it may sound like a warning, something dark and unsettling. But at its heart, it is not meant to frighten. It is meant to awaken. It is a call to live with clarity, to make each moment count, to strip away what is unimportant and embrace life with purpose. The idea of Memento Mori has deep historical roots. The Stoics of ancient Rome and Greece saw it as a tool for wisdom. They believed that remembering death was not a cause for despair, but a way to free oneself from fear. Seneca, the Roman philosopher, often wrote about death as a natural part of life, something not to be avoided, but accepted. He urged people to live as if each day could be their last, not with recklessness, but with intention. Marcus Aurelius, the emperor and Stoic thinker, kept this truth close to his heart, reminding himself that life is brief, that chasing after status and wealth is meaningless in the face of mortality, and that only virtue, kindness, and wisdom truly matter. Christianity carried this idea forward in its own way. In medieval times, churches and monasteries displayed artwork and symbols of Memento Mori, skulls, hourglasses, faded flowers, not to terrify but to guide the soul toward a life of deeper faith and humility. Monks were known to greet each other with the phrase, "Brother, remember your death," not as a morbid obsession, but as a call to holiness, a reminder to focus on what lasts beyond the fleeting nature of worldly life. Buddhism, too, embraces this practice. The Buddha himself taught that contemplating death is essential to understanding life. In Tibetan traditions, meditation on death is seen as a path to enlightenment. Instead of fearing it, practitioners reflect on it regularly, seeing it as a teacher that clears away illusions and attachments. By facing the reality of impermanence, one learns to let go of unnecessary suffering, to cherish each moment fully, and to act with compassion. Despite its deep roots, Memento Mori has largely faded from modern life. Today, death is often hidden away, softened by euphemisms, kept at a distance. In the past, people lived closely with the cycles of life and death. They saw it in nature, in their communities, in the passing of seasons and loved ones. But in an age of endless distractions where technology fills every moment and comfort is placed above contemplation, death has become something we prefer not to think about. It is easy to believe that there will always be more time, that we can put off saying what matters, following what we truly love, or living authentically. Yet reclaiming this forgotten wisdom does not mean dwelling in sadness. It means waking up. It means remembering that life is fragile, so that we do not waste it on things that do not truly fulfill us. It means choosing presence over distraction, love over pride, gratitude over regret. It means understanding that our days are numbered and using that knowledge not to be afraid but to be free. There is a kind of beauty in knowing that life will not last forever. It makes laughter sweeter, embraces warmer, and words more meaningful. It teaches us to forgive, to cherish, to live boldly while we can. Memento Mori is not a curse. It is a gift, a whisper that says, "Do not wait. Now is the time to live." Imagine waking up tomorrow and knowing with absolute certainty that you have exactly 1 year left to live. Not a vague idea, not an abstract possibility, but a fixed, unchangeable truth. How would you feel? What would you do differently? At first, there might be fear, sadness, or even disbelief. But once those emotions settle, something deeper might emerge. A kind of clarity, a sharpening of what truly matters. The distractions, the worries, the things that once seemed so important, do they still hold the same weight? Or do they begin to fade, making space for something else? You might think about the people in your life. Who would you want to spend more time with? Who have you drifted away from but still care about? Who deserves to hear the words you have never said? Perhaps there is someone you need to forgive, or someone who needs your forgiveness. Perhaps there is love left unspoken, appreciation left unsaid. If you had only 1 year, would you let those words remain unspoken? Or would you say them now, while there is still time? You might think about your regrets, not the small ones, not the little mistakes, but the deeper ones. The chances you did not take, the dreams you put off, the life you wanted, but never allowed yourself to fully embrace. If you knew the clock was running out, would you finally give yourself permission to do the things you have always longed for? Would you stop waiting for the perfect moment and realize that now is the only moment that truly exists? You might also think about the way you live each day, the pace, the routine, the habits that shape your life. Would you slow down and savor the simple things? The warmth of the sun on your skin, the sound of laughter, the quiet moments with the people you love? Would you stop spending your time on things that drain you and start filling your days with what brings you meaning and joy? This is not just a passing thought. It is a real question, and the answers you find are worth holding on to. If you feel moved by the idea of having only 1 year left, then perhaps it is because something in your heart is already whispering to you, telling you what truly matters. The good news is, you do not have to wait for a deadline to start living this way. Take a moment, sit in stillness, write down your answers not as a fantasy, but as a guide, a reminder of how you want to live, not just in some imagined final year, but in every year, in every day. Keep these words close. Look at them often. Let them shape your choices. The truth is, none of us know how much time we have, but we do have this moment, right now, and that is enough to begin. There is a quiet truth that lingers in the hearts of many, a truth often spoken only in whispers near the end of life. It is the weight of regret. It is the realization that time has passed, choices have been made, and some doors have closed forever. Hospice workers, those who sit beside people in their final days, have heard these whispers over and over again. Rarely do people regret the material things they did not own or the success they did not achieve. They do not wish they had worked longer hours or spent more time impressing others. Instead, their regrets are often about the love they did not express, the dreams they left unexplored, and the moments they allowed to slip away. They wish they had been braver. They wish they had been kinder. They wish they had lived more fully, more honestly, more in tune with their deepest selves. Why do we hold on to regret? Perhaps it is because we believe we still have time. We assume there will always be another day, another chance, another tomorrow where we can finally make things right. And so we push away what is uncomfortable. We bury the words we long to say. We hesitate, we delay, we promise ourselves that one day we will be the person we truly want to be. But time is not as endless as we imagine. The awareness of death can be a gift if we allow it to be. It can remind us that regret does not have to be something we carry to the end. We can release it now. We can make different choices. We can stop waiting. If there is an apology that needs to be made, now is the time to make it. If there is someone who deserves to know they are loved, now is the time to tell them. If there is a passion we have ignored or a dream we have abandoned, we can decide that it is not too late to begin again. There is a deep peace that comes with knowing we are living in alignment with what truly matters. A peace that comes not from avoiding regret, but from facing it with courage. There is still time. Not infinite time, but enough. Enough to forgive. Enough to speak your heart. Enough to make sure that when your final days arrive, your heart is light, your soul is free, and the only thing left is the quiet satisfaction of knowing you lived with courage, with kindness, and without regret. There is something extraordinary about the way a person sees the world when they know their time is limited. The colors of the sky seem richer. The sound of laughter feels deeper. The warmth of the sun on their skin is no longer just warmth but a quiet miracle. Everything becomes sharper, more beautiful, more alive. This is what death teaches those who are willing to listen. It reminds us that nothing is guaranteed, not even the next breath. And in doing so, it opens our eyes to the quiet treasures we often overlook. We are surrounded by small wonders every day, yet it is easy to take them for granted. A shared moment of kindness, the scent of morning air, the way someone we love says our name. These things seem ordinary until the awareness of loss makes them extraordinary. A person who has nearly lost their life often speaks of how the most simple moments became their greatest treasures. They remember the feeling of holding a loved one's hand. They remember the comfort of familiar voices. They remember the beauty of things they once rushed past. Gratitude is not about pretending life is perfect. It is not about ignoring pain or hardship. It is about noticing what is still good, still beautiful, still worth cherishing. And the awareness of death can help us do this. Instead of waiting for loss to remind us of what we have, we can choose to see it now. We can wake up each morning with the understanding that this day is not promised, but it is here. And that alone is enough reason to be grateful. A simple way to practice this is to pause throughout the day and notice something small but meaningful. The way light moves through a window, the way the wind carries the scent of the earth after rain, the warmth of a drink in your hands. By paying attention, by truly seeing, we begin to understand that life is not made up of grand achievements or distant dreams, but of these quiet, fleeting moments. There is a wonder in ordinary life, but it can only be found by those who slow down enough to see it. Imagine looking at the world as if it were the last time. Imagine listening to a loved one's voice as if you would never hear it again. Imagine tasting your favorite meal as if you were experiencing it for the first time. This is how gratitude grows, not by waiting for something extraordinary to happen, but by recognizing that the extraordinary is already here, in the smallest things, in the simplest joys, in every breath we take. The thought of death does not have to bring fear. It can bring clarity. It can remind us to love fully, to live deeply, and to find gratitude not just in the obvious joys, but in the moments we once overlooked. And when we live this way, with open eyes and an open heart, life itself becomes enough. There is something about knowing that time is limited that makes love feel more urgent, more real. When we understand that every conversation, every hug, every shared moment could be the last, we begin to love differently. We become softer with the people around us. We listen more carefully. We cherish the details, the way someone laughs, the way they mispronounce certain words, the way their presence makes the world feel a little less heavy. Thinking about death is not meant to make us sad. It is meant to wake us up. It reminds us that love is not something to be saved for later. There is no perfect moment to say what we truly feel. There is no guarantee that the people we care about will always be there tomorrow. So why do we hold back? Why do we let pride, hesitation, or fear stop us from saying what is in our hearts? Many people carry grudges for years, allowing old wounds to build walls between them and the ones they love. But when people near the end of their lives, those grudges often dissolve. They realize how small those arguments were compared to the love they could have shared. They realize that forgiveness is not about saying the past did not hurt, but about choosing not to let it steal any more time. The truth is, time is always shorter than we think. And when it is gone, the chance to say I love you or I'm sorry is gone with it. Love should not be something we assume people know. It should not be something we expect them to understand without words. Love should be spoken. It should be shown in the way we hold someone close, in the way we take the time to understand them, in the way we choose kindness even when it is hard. Imagine if today was your last chance to tell someone how much they mean to you. What would you say? Would you thank them for the quiet ways they have supported you? Would you tell them that their laughter makes life brighter? Would you let them know that simply having them in the world has made your own journey more meaningful? This is the challenge. Find a quiet moment and write a letter to someone you love. Write as if this were the last time you could ever tell them how much they matter. Do not wait for the perfect words, because the perfect words are simply the ones that are true. You do not have to send it if you do not want to, but write it. See what it feels like to love without holding back. See how much is left unsaid and let it be said. When we look at life through the lens of mortality, we see that love is the only thing that truly matters. Not status, not wealth, not being right in an argument. Just love, the love we give, the love we receive, and the love we share while we are still here. There is a question that can change everything. If you knew your time was limited, what would you do differently? This question is not meant to be distant or theoretical. It is real. Time is always running, whether we think about it or not. One day, all of this will be gone. The ordinary routines, the small worries, even the things we love. When we truly accept this, life becomes clearer. Many people live as if they are waiting for something, They tell themselves they will start living fully once they have more money, more confidence, more time. But days turn into years and the waiting never ends. Then suddenly life feels like it has passed them by. They wonder where it went. They wonder why they spent so much of it doing things that never really mattered to them. Memento Mori, the practice of remembering death, is not about fear. It is about clarity. When we understand that we do not have forever, we begin to see what is truly important. We stop living on autopilot. We stop chasing things that do not bring us real joy or meaning. We start asking deeper questions. What kind of person do I want to be? What impact do I want to leave behind? What makes my heart feel alive? Purpose is not something we find all at once. It is something we uncover step by paying attention to what makes us feel deeply connected to life. It does not have to be something grand or world-changing. It does not have to be a perfect career or a lifelong mission. It can be as simple as creating beauty, helping others, learning, or making the people around us feel loved. The challenge is to align daily life with what truly matters. If kindness is important to you, are you practicing it every day? If you value creativity, are you making space for it? If love is the most important thing, are you expressing it? Many people wait until they are near the end to ask these questions. They look back and realize they spent years living someone else's idea of success. But you do not have to wait. You can choose now. Imagine looking back on your life from your final days. What would you be proud of? What moments would feel the most meaningful? What would you wish you had done more of? The answers to these questions are not just reflections. They are guides. They tell you what is worth doing while you still have time. Every day is a chance to move closer to the life you truly want. Every small action is a piece of the bigger picture. There is no need to wait for the perfect time. There is only now. The simple truth is that you are already running out of time. But that is not something to fear. That is something to wake you up. If your life truly mattered, and it does, what would you do with it? The way we think about death changes the way we live. Some see it as an ending, a terrifying thought they push away. Others see it as a transition, a return to something greater. Some believe in an afterlife, while others believe this moment is all we have. But no matter what we believe, death is coming. It is the one thing we all share, yet most of us spend our lives avoiding the thought of it. Fear of death often comes from the unknown. What happens when the body stops? Where do we go, if anywhere at all? These are questions that have shaped human thinking for thousands of years. In different cultures, death has been seen as everything from a punishment to a doorway to another life. In ancient Stoic philosophy, death was simply a part of nature, no different from the changing of the seasons. In Buddhism, it was understood as another step in the endless cycle of existence. Many religious traditions see death as a return to something greater, a homecoming of the soul. But beyond belief, there is something deeper. The real question is not just what happens after we die. It is how our awareness of death changes the way we live. If we see death as a terrifying force, we may live cautiously, trying to control every moment. If we see it as natural, we may accept it with peace. If we see it as a reminder of how precious time is, we may live with greater urgency, loving fully and wasting less. There is a simple exercise that can help make this clearer. Imagine you have passed away and someone is writing your eulogy, the words spoken about you at your funeral. What do you want them to say? What kind of person do you want to be remembered as? What values do you hope to find your life? Writing your own eulogy is not a dark exercise. It is a way to understand what truly matters to you. It is a way to see if you are living in a way that matches your deepest values. If you want to be remembered as kind, are you practicing kindness every day? If you want to be known for your love, are you showing it fully? If you hope people will speak of your courage, are you living bravely? Most of us do not think about these questions until it is too late. But you do not have to wait until the end to live the way you want to be remembered. You can start now. Facing death does not have to bring fear. It can bring clarity. It can wake you up, because in the end, the story of your life is yours to write, and you are still holding the pen. Life is full of things we cannot control. We try to hold on, to shape the world around us, to make everything fit the way we want it to. But no matter how much we plan, no matter how tightly we cling, life moves in its own way. People change. Time slips through our hands. Loss comes when we least expect it. And in the end, no matter how strong we are, We cannot escape the simple truth that everything is temporary. This is why letting go is so difficult. It feels like losing control, like stepping into the unknown without a map. We resist because we are afraid of change, afraid of losing what we love, afraid of facing a future that does not look the way we imagined. But the harder we hold on, the more we suffer. The more we resist, the more life begins to feel like a battle rather than a journey. Death teaches us something that nothing else can. It shows us that holding on is not always possible. No matter how much we love someone, no matter how deeply we treasure a moment, we cannot make it last forever. But this does not have to be sad. If we learn to accept it, it can be beautiful. Because if everything is temporary, then every moment is precious. Every conversation, every sunrise, every embrace is a gift that will not come again. And when we understand this, we stop trying to control life and instead begin to experience it fully. Letting go is not the same as giving up. Giving up is rooted in despair. It is when we stop caring, when we close our hearts, when we walk away from life because it feels too difficult. Letting go is something entirely different. It is not a weakness. It is wisdom. It is the choice to release what is beyond our control, so that we can find peace instead of struggle. It is learning to trust that even when things do not go our way, life still has meaning. There is a kind of quiet strength in surrender. It is not about losing hope or becoming passive. It is about accepting what is rather than fighting against it. It is about loosening our grip on the things we cannot change so that we have the freedom to embrace the things we can. When we let go, we make space for something new. We stop clinging to the past and we open ourselves to the present. Life is not meant to be held onto. It is meant to be lived. When we learn to surrender, we begin to move with life instead of against it. And in that movement, there is freedom, there is peace, there is beauty. Life is always happening now. But most of the time, we are not truly here. Our minds are busy traveling elsewhere. We replay old conversations, regretting what we said or did not say. We think about what could have been, what we should have done differently, as if we could go back and change the past. Or we rush ahead, worrying about the future, making plans, imagining problems, trying to control what has not even happened yet. And while we are lost in these thoughts, life moves forward without us. Death has a way of bringing things into focus. When people know they do not have much time left, their regrets are rarely about things they did not achieve. They do not wish they had worked harder or earned more. Most of the time, their regrets are about not having been truly present in the moments that mattered. They wish they had listened more closely, had deeper conversations, appreciated the people they loved instead of taking them for granted. They wish they had spent less time worrying and more time simply being alive. The present moment is the only thing we really have. The past is gone, and the future is unknown. If we are always thinking about what has already happened or what might happen next, we miss what is right in front of us. A simple meal, the sound of laughter, the warmth of sunlight on our skin. These small things are what make life beautiful, yet we often overlook them because our minds are somewhere else. Learning to live in the present does not mean ignoring the past or the future. It means not letting them take over our lives. It means realizing that what truly matters is happening right now. When we focus on the present, we become more aware. We listen more deeply. We love more fully. We find joy in the ordinary, in the little moments that we once thought were unimportant. One of the simplest ways to stay present is to slow down. Instead of rushing through each day, we can take a breath and pay attention. Notice the details. Feel the moment. When we eat, taste the food. When we walk, feel the ground beneath our feet. When we speak to someone, really listen instead of waiting for our turn to talk. The more we do this, the more we realize how much we have been missing. Life is not meant to be lived in the past or the future. It is meant to be experienced fully here and now. And when we learn to do that, everything changes. Time feels richer. Relationships grow deeper. Worries begin to fade because we are no longer lost in a world of thoughts. We are here, awake, alive, and that is the greatest gift we could ever give ourselves. Life is full of things we carry. Some of it we can see and touch. The objects we collect, the clothes we buy, the things we store away in closets and garages, hoping we might need them someday. Then there are the invisible burdens, the worries about the future, the weight of past mistakes, the grudges we hold, the expectations we place on ourselves, the endless chase for something more. Over time, all of it becomes heavy. We move through life with so much, yet often, none of it brings us peace. Death has a way of cutting through the noise. When people face the end, their thoughts are rarely about the things they owned. They do not think about their houses or their bank accounts. What stays with them are the moments of love, the times they were fully alive, the people who mattered most. Everything else fades into the background. Memento Mori, the practice of remembering that we will one day die, is not meant to be frightening. It is a reminder that most of what we hold on to is not as important as we think. If we let this awareness guide us, life becomes simpler. We begin to see what is truly necessary and what is just extra weight. We start letting go. We stop filling our lives with things that do not serve us. We stop chasing approval. We stop worrying so much about what people think. We stop carrying pain that no longer needs to be ours. Simplicity is not about having nothing. It is about making space for what matters. When we clear out what is unnecessary, we have more room for joy. When we let go of old resentments, we feel lighter. When we stop chasing things we do not really need, we find peace in what we already have. Life does not become empty. It becomes full in a different way. The happiest moments are often the simplest. A deep conversation, a quiet morning, the laughter of someone we love. These things do not require much, yet they bring the most meaning. When we learn to live with less attachment, less expectation, less distraction, we begin to feel something we had forgotten: freedom, a lightness that allows us to move through life with more ease, with more presence, with more love. Memento Mori is not about sadness. It is about clarity. It is about realizing that because life is short, we do not need to spend it weighed down. We can choose to let go. We can choose to live simply. And in doing so, we make space for what truly matters. From the moment we are born, the world teaches us who we should be. It tells us how to behave, what to believe, what kind of life to live. We learn to follow the rules, to fit in, to be liked. We dress a certain way, speak a certain way, act in ways that feel acceptable. Over time, we begin to mistake these roles for who we really are, but there comes a moment when something inside us starts to ask a deeper question. What if I did not have to pretend? What if I could simply be myself? The answer often feels impossible. We are afraid of judgment. We are afraid of rejection. We are afraid that if we stop performing, we will no longer be loved. Yet when we remember that life does not last forever, something shifts. Memento Mori, the awareness of death, is not a dark thought. It is a clarifying one. It asks us why we are spending our short, precious time being someone we are not. It reminds us that no matter how much we try to impress others, in the end, none of it will matter. What will matter is whether we lived in a way that was true. There is a freedom that comes when we stop trying so hard to be what others expect. We realize that the people who truly love us will love us for who we really are, not for the masks we wear. The weight of pretending begins to lift. We start speaking more honestly. We stop apologizing for who we are. We allow ourselves to follow the path that feels right, even if it does not make sense to anyone else. Society will always have expectations. There will always be pressure to conform. But those who live the most meaningful lives are the ones who dare to break free. They are the ones who, instead of following every rule, choose to follow their hearts. They are the ones who, instead of seeking approval, seek truth. Being yourself is not always easy. It takes courage. It takes the willingness to stand alone at times. But in the end, it is the only way to truly live. Because when the final moment comes, you will not want to look back and see a life that was spent trying to please others. You will want to see a life that was fully, deeply, honestly yours. When people think of a legacy, they often imagine grand things. They think of names in history books, great inventions, or buildings that will stand for centuries. But the truth is, legacy is not about fame. It is not about being remembered by millions. It is about the quiet ways in which we shape the world around us, the small moments that leave ripples long after we are gone. Every life touches others. Every word, every act, every kindness has the power to echo beyond our lifetime. A teacher who believes in a struggling student may change the course of that child's life. A friend who listens without judgment may offer someone the strength to keep going. A simple act of love, a moment of patience, a choice to forgive. These things seem small, but they can outlive us in ways we may never see. When we reflect on the end of our lives, the questions that matter are simple. Did I love well? Did I make others feel valued? Did I leave the world a little better than I found it? These are not questions of wealth or success. They are questions of the heart. There is a story about an old man who planted trees he knew he would never sit under. When asked why he did it, he said, "Because someone once planted trees for me." This is legacy, not in the things we keep for ourselves, but in what we give to others. You do not have to change the whole world. You only have to change one moment for one person, and if enough people do that, the world changes on its own. Most people spend their lives trying to avoid thinking about death. It is a subject often pushed away, something distant, something for another time. But death is not something outside of life. It is part of it, woven into every breath we take. To prepare for it is not to be morbid or fearful, but to be fully awake to the time we have. There is a quiet wisdom in accepting the inevitable. Many cultures throughout history have recognized this. The Stoics in ancient Rome spoke of contemplating mortality every day, not to be saddened by it, but to be reminded to live well. In some Buddhist traditions, monks meditate in graveyards to deepen their understanding of impermanence. In Mexico, Dia de los Muertos is a celebration of those who have passed, a reminder that love does not end with death. Preparing for death does not mean waiting for it. It means making choices now that will bring peace when the time comes. It means writing a will so that the people you love are cared for. It means having honest conversations, saying the words that should be said, so that nothing is left unspoken. It means making amends, letting go of anger, and choosing forgiveness. To die well is to have lived well, not with endless accomplishments, but with a heart that has known love, with moments of kindness that have shaped the lives of others. It is knowing that when the final breath comes, there is nothing left to chase, nothing left undone. There is only peace. Imagine for a moment lying in bed at the end of your life. What would make you feel at ease? What would you be grateful for? Who would you want by your side? Whatever your answers are, let them guide how you live today. Because the best way to prepare for death is to live in such a way that when it comes, you are ready to go with grace, not regret. There is a paradox at the heart of existence. We long for life, yet we cannot hold on to it forever. We try to ignore death, yet it shapes everything we do. The ancient idea of Memento Mori, which means, remember that you will die, is not meant to frighten but to awaken. It is not about dwelling on endings, but about embracing life more fully. Imagine waking up each morning with the awareness that this day is not guaranteed. Imagine looking at the people you love as if it might be the last time you see them. Imagine walking outside and feeling the air on your skin, watching the way light moves and truly noticing that you are here, alive, in this moment. This is the gift that death gives us. It reminds us not to sleepwalk through our days, not to waste time on things that do not matter, not to postpone joy for a future that may never come. Many people spend their lives waiting to be happy, waiting for the right time to start something new, waiting to say the things they need to say. But waiting is an illusion. Life is happening now. The truth is, one day, everything we take for granted will be gone. The people we cherish, the dreams we carry, the simple, ordinary moments that seem small but are in fact everything. Knowing this, how will you live? Will you let fear hold you back, or will you choose courage? Will you live for approval, or will you be true to yourself? Will you chase after things that fade, or will you invest in what is real? Love, kindness, presence. If there is one thing worth learning from death, it is this. Let yourself live, laugh loudly, love deeply, say what you need to say, forgive when you can, let go when you must, and above all, be here fully in this fleeting, beautiful moment. Life is not a race. It is not about how much you accomplish or how fast you move. It is not about proving anything to anyone. Life is a gift. Fragile and fleeting, yet infinitely precious. It is given to us without explanation and taken away without warning. The question is not how long we will have it, but how deeply we will live it. There is so much pressure in the world to chase, to accumulate, to become more. But maybe the truest way to honor life is to slow down and simply be. To be present with the people who matter. To be kind when it is easy to be indifferent. To be open to the beauty of small moments. The warmth of sunlight on your skin. The sound of laughter. The feeling of being truly understood. These are the things that make a life rich, and they are always within reach. One day, every single one of us will take our last breath. The details of our lives will fade. The worries that once seemed overwhelming will no longer matter. What will remain is the love we gave, the kindness we showed, and the way we made others feel. So as you step forward, let this be your reminder. You do not have to be perfect. You do not have to have all the answers. You simply have to live. Breathe deeply, love freely. Let yourself feel everything, the joy, the sorrow, the wonder of it all. And when the time comes for you to say goodbye, may it be with no regrets, only gratitude. What will you do with the time you have left?